In today's video, we're going to take a look at 4 of the SMGs that are available in Call of Duty and make a decision on which one we think you should be adding to your loadout. To do this, we'll take a look at their in-game stats, the attachments you can have on them, and also show you some gameplay. We are a brand new channel, so please don't forget to like and subscribe, that's going to help us grow. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the video. So we're going to start today's video with this table which I got from rockpapershotgun.com, and I'll leave a link to their site down in the description. What this table shows us is the raw stats for each of the 4 weapons that we are looking at today, and the 4 SMGs that we've chosen to look at are the P90, the MP5, the MP7 and the new one that everyone's interested in, the Fennec. So the second column in this table shows the damage profile for each weapon, and that's split into 4 sections, and each of those 4 sections tells you how much damage that gun will deal depending on where you're hitting your opponent. And the 4 sections are the head, the chest, the stomach and the limbs. So this column really shows that headshots really are a necessity. So if we take a look at the 4 guns that we've chosen to look at today, it clearly shows that the MP5 has the highest damage profile. So if we were just choosing off that alone, we'd definitely be going for the MP5. Moving on to the next column, the shots to kill is a direct correlation really to the damage profile. If you do more damage, you can expect less shots to kill them with. So again, the MP5 rules that column. The third column is then the RPM, or the rounds per minute, and as you can see, the new gun that's just come into the game, the Fennec, has by far the highest rounds per minute, firing 1,100 rounds in a minute if you kept your finger on the trigger for all of that time. So once we take this column into consideration as well, having a higher rounds per minute means that although the gun does less damage than the MP5, it will actually catch up because it's firing faster. And as you can see, all of the other 3 guns that we've chosen to look at today have a faster fire rate than the MP5, so they catch up a bit there. We're going to skip over the column that's for the size of the mag, and that's purely because once you've unlocked the attachments for the gun, you can increase the size of the mag, and you can sort of completely negate that column. The next column along is the reload speed. That can make a difference, especially if you're playing multiplayer, and the MP7 has the fastest reload speed. And the final column that we're going to take note of is the ADS, the aim down sight speed, and as you can see, all 4 guns that we've chosen today aim down sight at exactly the same time. We're now going to move on to look at each gun individually and how in-game changes and in-game attachments can change those rankings a bit. So gun number 1 is the Fennec, and this is just the base Fennec, and as you can see, this is a gun that's highly driven around accuracy, control and of course fire rate. So straight out of the box you get a gun that is ideal for close quarters fights. However, once you've got a few attachments unlocked, you won't be using this version, so let's take a look at the sort of thing you can do and the sort of changes you can make to those stats. So here are the attachments that I use when recording the clips for this video. They are the suppressor, the ZLR Sabre, the ZLR 16-inch Apex barrel, the stock was a ZLR blade, then I used the Merc foregrip and I upgraded it from a 25 round mag to a 40 round drum. So what exactly do I get with these attachments? So if we look on the screen now, the accuracy is considerably increased, the range has increased quite a bit and the control has also increased. We have lost some mobility, so we've changed it into more of a short to mid-range weapon as opposed to just an up close and personal SMG. But because of its immense fire rate, it's still got that ferocity when you're in a close range fight, as you'll see from the clips that are about to come up.
Enemy at the tire shop. Quickfire! Reloading. We have a personal radar drone ready for escort. Request recon flyover.
Copy. Falcon 301 route for personal radar coverage.
So in summary, I really have to say that I do like the Fennec. I think it really rewards the accurate player, as if you're able to hit your shots, the fire rate will allow you to shred players like no other gun in the game. On to the next one. So the next gun up for review is the P90. It actually has very similar stats to the Fennec. What it loses in accuracy and fire rate, it actually makes up for in damage and range. Therefore, the default version of the gun is still suited to short range, but you might be able to get a little bit more out of it than you would with the Fennec. However, as I said before, nobody uses the gun straight out of the box once they've got some attachments, so let's have a look at what you can put on it. So let's have a look at the attachments that I went for. I went for the monolithic suppressor, as I do with most weapons. For the barrel I went for the forged tack retribution. For the underbarrel, the stippled grip tape and the rubberised grip tape for the rear grip. I also decided to go for sleight of hand, and the reason for that is it gives you a little bit more fire rate, and I've used the P90 a lot in Season 3, so I wanted to see if I could get a more direct comparison with the Fennec's fire rate. So what these attachments give the weapon are increased accuracy, increased range and slightly increased control, and it also gives that tiny bit of increased fire rate just to see if it can keep up with the Fennec. So once again, here's over to some clips.
Electronics store. Enemy at the...
We have a personal radar.
So in summary for the P90, I have to say it is one of my favourite weapons to use in the game, and I think that with the sleight of hand perk added on, you don't see much of a fire rate difference between that and the Fennec, and actually my preference would be towards the P90. However, that's only the second SMG, so let's move on to the third. And the third gun up for review is the MP5, so let's put this under a bit of scrutiny. So for an SMG you're always expected to have good accuracy, fire rate, mobility and control, but on this gun it's reduced compared to the previous two, and what you see is an increase in the damage and the range, which makes this probably the most balanced SMG in the game. So without any attachments whatsoever, you've already got a very good short to mid-range weapon, but let's see what you can do once you've added on a few attachments. The attachments that I'm going for this time are again the monolithic suppressor. This time we're plumping for the 1MW laser, the tactical foregrip, the 45 round mag to give us more bullets, and finally the granulated grip tape. What we get with these attachments are increased accuracy, range and control, and we lose a little bit of mobility. That keeps this gun as very, very balanced. So once again, let's get into some clips.
Reloading. Go. Get to the next one. Got the hard target down.
Enemy at the construction site.
Reloading. Enemy precision airstrike inbound. Take cover. Enemy UAV overhead.
So in summary, I think the MP5 is a gun for two occasions. The first occasion is for your new player who is just coming into the game and needs to find a balance between an SMG and an AR to get used to the way the game runs. Alternatively, I think the MP5 is perfect for an experienced player who can maximise headshots, as the damage profile means that a few headshots and you're gone. Now over to the final weapon, and that weapon is the MP7, and if you look at the base stats of the MP7, it's probably what springs to mind when you first think of an SMG. An SMG should be very mobile, have good control and a high fire rate, and that's exactly what you get from the MP7. It is lacking in range, damage and accuracy, but with a few attachments you can improve those as well. So let's have a look at a fully attached gun. So the final attachments that we've gone for this time are the monolithic suppressor, again, it's a fan favourite, the 5MW laser, the granulated grip tape, the underbarrel is the commando foregrip, and finally the 50 round mag. So what that then gives us is still a very mobile weapon. It gives us increased accuracy, increased range, slightly increased control, and a hell of a lot of bullets to shoot people with. So for the fourth and final time, let's head over to some clips. So my summary for the MP7 is that it's probably the best secondary weapon to have. However, when comparing it to the rest of the SMGs, it's not the one I would recommend the most. And that leads us nicely on to where I would rank these weapons against each other. I would give the gold medal spot to the P90, especially when it's equipped with a sleight of hand perk. I'd be giving a joint second to the Fennec and the MP5, but for very different reasons, as I believe the Fennec is best used in the hands of an experienced player, whereas the MP5 is a very balanced weapon and can be used by any sort of player. And finally the MP7, not because I don't like it, just because I don't think it matches up to the rest. Thank you for watching today's video, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed it.